Hi gentlemen, this is Mr. Holding. This quick video is on the moons and the tides Year 7 assignment, specifically on plotting your points on your graph. So you've been given here, by this stage you'll have your table neatly drawn in here with a title on, alright, and I've done this as an example. Now let me make this very clear. This is an example, this is different data. If you copy this, you're going to get it wrong. So don't copy this one. This is an example of how to do it. So you've got your table now, and you then need to go and plot the points. So the first thing we need to do on our graph paper is draw our Cartesian plane. Okay, so I've done that, knowing that I've got a rough idea of where I'm going to put things. But before we do that, we need to work out what axis we put what information on. Okay, so along the x-axis here, so we've got the x there and the y there. Okay, we always put the independent variable, the thing that determines what's happening. So the question is, do the tides determine the phase of the moon, or the phase of the moon depends on the tides? Now we know that the tides depend on the phase of the moon, so the moon phases go down here. However, we're actually going to put dates, and underneath it we're going to draw in the phase of the moon. So I've gone and done that, and I've put my dates in. I haven't drawn my pictures. I'll let you do that, but I would just put them, a small picture about that big with a particular phase. So this is a waning gibbous, so something like that. You can work it out based on the pictures, but I've got my dates from here. Okay, 18th, 21st, 25th, 28th, and I've put them across this way here. Now because we're looking at dates, we just put them like that. Alright, along the y-axis, however, we're going to do the tide heights, and that is continuous, so it starts from zeros and goes all the way up. Now looking at my thing here, the largest value I've got is 2.4, so I need to make sure that my scale goes up. So I'm going to go up 0.1 for every rung, but you need to determine how to do that accurately and in scale for yours. So I've gone and done that, and I've put my scale for my tide height along here, and I've also I've labelled my axis. Okay, so tide height underline, and I've got my units there because it's measured in meters. Same thing for down here as well. I've called that the date and phase of moon. Okay, the next thing I have to do is go here. And I'm going to do essentially two sets of points. I'm going to do my high tides and I'm going to do my low tides. Okay, now I would suggest that you do these in different colors, okay, to show, and you can have a look at the two difference. So I go and plot my points for my high tides, and then I'm going to go and plot my points for my low tides. Okay, so I've gone and plotted my points now for my high tide and my low tide. Obviously I've used the information here corresponding to the different dates. Okay. And I can start to see certain things. So at certain phases, okay, my tidal difference, which is the difference between these 2 points, is going to be smaller because they're closer together. Whereas these 2 points here, they're further away. Okay, so I've now gone and done that. It's nice and neat, so it's easy to look at and make conclusions from that. The only thing left to do here is to make sure that I've labelled my entire graph. I've labelled my axes already, but I need to label my graph. So it's a figure. So I call it figure 1 because it's the first graph, and then I call it a name. So you need to come up with a name explaining what we're actually looking at. All right. The only other thing to point out is you'll notice here on all the points, it's like I've drawn in little crosshairs, like a target. When we put the point there, we do these little crosshairs just to identify where the actual data point is, okay? Because if I draw over it with a line, it's quite easy for that to disappear. But if I have my little crosshairs in, it shows me that this is where my points are. And they're very, very small, okay, but they do make a difference. Okay, so hope you found this helpful.